That's one of the most heard sounds in the whole entire country of Canada. Canada is the country this speech is about. Hockey is such a big part in Canada because it's a lot colder in Canada than here in the U.S. See, the reason for this is because here in the U.S. it's a lot closer to the equator than Canada is, meaning ice rinks stay frozen from about late September all the way around to early March. And some parents wake up at 4:30 in the morning and drive about 5.5 miles just to get some free hockey time on the weekends before a long school day. There are also very famous hockey players and teams in Canada, including the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Players like defenseman P.K. Subban and goalie Carey Price have the Montreal Canadiens. Also, lots of Hall of Fame, or maybe even soon-to-be Hall of Famers, are Canadian. For example, Cindy Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins and Jonathan Toews of the Chicago Blackhawks are Canadian. And so is Hall of Famer Wayne Gretzky, Hall of Fame class in 1990. And then there are famous hockey players in Boston Bruins history or even present time. The head coach of the Bees, Claude Julien, is Canadian, and so is Bruins forward Patrice Bergeron. And maybe the most important player in the whole Boston Bruins franchise history, drafted first overall in the 1966 draft and had no college experience whatsoever. This person was defenseman Bobby Orr himself, believe it or not. Another important person in sports, Dr. James Naismith, a man who created the sport of basketball in Springfield, Massachusetts, is Canadian. But with both these sports in mind, neither of them are Canada's national sport. Canada's national sport is the sport of lacrosse. Another thing that's great about Canada is all of its great sights and symbols. The world's largest waterfall, Niagara Falls, is partly in Ontario, Canada, and partly in New York, USA. It is the world's largest waterfall in both volume and in popularity. The word Niagara Falls is a native Canadian word that means thundering waters. Another big part in Canada is maple syrup and maple trees. The maple trees make the sweet syrup. Canada produces 9,400 kiloliters of maple syrup a year. That's a lot. So much that Canada's national flag is a red maple leaf. One of the most popular things Canadians use maple syrup for, besides just maple syrup, is little or big maple syrup candies. These maple syrup candies are a bit hard, but when you bite into them, your opinion might change. A little bit later, we will be giving you a taste of what 100% maple syrup tastes like. And when I say it's made of 100% maple syrup, I mean the only thing in it is pure, sweet Canadian maple syrup. Another thing that's important in Canada is education. It has gotten so important to Canadians that by Canadian law, children must attend school from age 6 to 16. In class, they learn stuff like math, how to read, French and English, cursive, and many other things. The reason they learn how to read French and English is because most of the street signs are in French because when the people who founded Canada spoke French. So today, French and English are the two most popular languages spoken in Canada. Talking about education, there was very little of it when Jacques Cartier discovered Canada in 1534. Canada also has these things called provinces and territories. Just like we have states here in the U.S., that's sort of like what provinces are to Canada. Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. Canada's provinces are British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland and Labrador. Canada's territories are Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. In provinces and territories like these, you'll find cities like Montreal and Toronto. Toronto is right there, and Montreal is in Quebec. With all of these provinces and territories, it makes Canada the second biggest country in the world by area. In fact, Canada is larger than the U.S. in area, but the U.S. has a population 10 times as much of the population Canada has. Oops, I almost forgot to tell you about Canadian bacon. Canadian bacon is what us Americans refer to as ham. I'm not exactly sure why Canadian bacon is ham. Oh no, I almost forgot to tell you why I wrote this speech in the first place. The reason I wrote this speech is because everyone on my mom's side of the family is Canadian, and about half of her family moved here to the U.S., and the other half still lives there today. And I like visiting them once in a while. I got all of my information from the internet, books, relatives, and some of my knowledge. Thanks for listening to my speech. Now I can't wait to hear yours.